Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready? Prepare for blast off.
Your fortress of solitude.
Greetings, program.
Glad you're alive.
Your sanctum sanctorum.
Resistance is futile.
Welcome.
This should be the first triumph. This is where the fun begins.
Proof positive that geeks have inherited the earth.
It's showtime.
It's time to get your geek on.
You complete me.
With Dave Gramillion.
All right. Welcome to one of the most listened to talk shows on radio for geeks. This is Get Your Geek On. We are on a never-ending quest to awaken your inner geek by talking about the products, news, events, opinions, reviews, breaking news, and oh so much more that demonstrate that we are all geeks. Today on Season 3, Episode number 30 on Freedom 1160 and Freedom1160.com, we've got some breaking news that we want to reveal to the masses out there, including we've got answers to Celebrity Fan Fest questions. Bob Wills, who's the owner and CEO, unfortunately could not be in studio with us tonight. However, or this afternoon, hello, the sun goes down pretty quick around here. So he couldn't be here today, but we do have answers to questions that we were going to pose to him anyway. We'll talk about that, including the ticket price rise, possible parking fees, what security will be like, and so on and so forth. We also have some Disney news that we're going to talk about. If you're heading out to Disneyland or Disney World, Mom and Dad, you may want to pay attention. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. Also have some Facebook news that we're going to get to. We've put out our own Facebook post of the week. We will be highlighting that. That is from our Facebook group, as well as the Facebook poll of the week. This one's going to be a good one. We had over 1,200 people vote on this one. We'll let you know what that is coming up. And then news came out on Thursday that really it was so far out of left field. It was incredible. Activision and Bungie, the two video game companies, have split. And now it's fallout time all over the place. Activision stock plummeted. Video game futures are in doubt. It's some pretty good chaos there. So we'll be talking about that as well coming up. Big Bang Theory is in the midst of its final season, and we officially found out why and what kind of deal was left on the table. It was a big one. I'm really surprised that it went down the way that it did. And then big Star Trek news as well that will be affecting the franchise really for years to come now, as far as the movies, series, animation, on air, on streaming, the whole 9 yards. The face of Star Trek as we know it is about to change, and we'll tell you all about that as well. Let me go and introduce my motley crew here. If you look to my left, your right, across the radio dial, you will see our gaming guru, the vizier of video games. He is Purple Rain, and he is Aaron Shapiro.
I mean, do you have a different nickname? Fired Butterfingers. You're done with those now?
No.
Done? Oh, okay.
No. But by the time PAX rolls around next week, I'm sure we'll have another one. How you doing, man?
I'm sure. I'm doing good. Tired. Someone tried to kill me still with a cough drop.
Okay. All right. Well, that deserves a little explanation. So for the last several weeks, every time I come in, it sounds like a hospital ward in here. We try to muffle it as best we can with the mics, but if you go back and listen to our award-winning podcast, you'll hear the cough. So I came in, and I'm all proactive, and I got some Hall's cough drops. Just that little roll you pick up at a gas station. I'm like, here you go, Goose. Here you go, Aaron. And Goose took it, and he's like, dude, this is awesome. Thank you much. Aaron takes, he just touches his fingers, and you think I gave him smallpox. I mean, he starts gagging and choking. He turns bluer than his hair. And, I mean, it's just.
Wouldn't it be more purple than my hair?
Well, it was blue at one point.
No, it's never been blue. It was blonde.
It's going to be blue.
It's going to be blue, yeah.
Okay, well, it's bluer than your
blue.
hair will be, so. Good guy. You think I was trying to kill him or something.
Then his nickname will be Blue Needs a Clue.
Blue's Clues. That'll be his theme song when he goes blue. That'll be awesome. And if you look, speaking of which, if you heard that voice there, you look further to my left, your right, across the radio dial, you will see the man spinning the ones and zeros, our sound prognosticator. He is Goose.
No, there's two O's in Goose.
There you go. Goose, how you doing, man?
Doing okay. How are you? I saw it's been a big week for Star Trek. I'm excited. We're just what is it? 4 days away from Discovery season 2. That's going to be
4
exciting.
days?
4 days. Comes out Thursday, son.
All right, sounds like a plan to me.
And
When we get to see furry Spock.
Superman was in the theaters today.
Yes, it was.
Reign of the Supermen.
Was that
And
today?
Death of Superman.
Yeah, double feature. Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen. Here today, January 13th.
Very nice.
So,
Is that
Very
today
nice.
only?
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it
no,
was-
it's tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Is it
too.
Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then
Sorry.
it's
Check it out.
available on digital on Tuesday the 15th.
Okay.
Then 2 weeks after that is going to be the Blu-ray release.
Very nice.
That
And I think
quick?
it's going to be out on DC Universe same day as physical media.
The DC Universe app, which you
The
can
DC Universe
download
app.
over at Google Play, I think.
Apple,
Or-
iTunes, or all your popular app stores, including Roku. I have mine on my Roku and my Apple devices.
Excellent.
And online,
Alrighty.
DCUniverse.com.
So, Celebrity Fan Fest came out and announced that they are going to have a mid-June show. The Celebrity Fan Fest came on last fall in November. They were at the JW Marriott. They brought in stars like Jason Momoa. They brought in Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in the Justice League movie, and Ben Affleck, who you know who Ben Affleck is.
Chasing Amy, right?
Chasing Amy. He was in Dogma, Good Will Hunting,
Good Will Hunting.
Clerks 2.
Clerks. Yeah.
Armageddon. He was in Armageddon.
He was in Armageddon, and wasn't he? He was Superman,
No.
Green Lantern,
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
That'd have been fun.
No, Ben Affleck was Batman, and man, I tell you, what, I got to walk up and get a photo op with him, courtesy of Celebrity Fan Fest. That was nice of them to do it.
So did we.
And I walked up, and I had no idea Ben Affleck was 6'4". I did not know this. I thought, because you see him stand next to Matt Damon, like in Dogma, and they seem to be comparable size. I thought he'd be like 5'11", maybe 5'10". God, geez, that guy is tall. And yeah, he still has his Batman shape. He's pretty buff. So now they're going to do a mid-June show, and Bob was supposed to be in studio here to talk about it, help hype it up, but he got called away on business last minute. Could not get him in, which is fine. You know, a man like that, he's going to be busy, so that'll be fine. We'll get him on. I think in February we're going to schedule him to come on in. But I did go ahead and I shoot him my questions. And I said, can we still talk about your show, the Celebrity Fan Fest, if you answer these questions? And he said, absolutely. So I said, all right, so they're moving from the JW Marriott to the Freeman Coliseum and Expo Hall. Well, that's got to bring on a whole new set of challenges. I mean, totally different space, a lot more space, government property, city government property. So what was the primary reason that caused you to select the Freeman? What new challenges are there? And he said that there will be new challenges, but he has a staff of 60 people ready to deliver.
So that's staff. That's paid people.
Yeah, that people on staff with him. And he said most people are very happy that we will be centrally located with a park and ride destination. Now, VIA has expanded their park and ride outlets across the city, so that's good news.
Now, I will say that was one of the, when we heard about it's going to be at Freeman, that's the first thing that you and I talked about was this park and ride going to be a thing, because I know that on that property they do charge parking.
Yes, they do. In
Wasn't
fact,
sure of the price, but
yep.
I knew they did.
That was one of the first
So-
questions I asked him.
What's the park and ride? Because I've never done it. You just park in a random spot and...
No, you go to like one of the VIA drop things where you drop your car off and then you get on a bus.
Oh, and it takes you...
And
It's
the
like a
bus will
shuttle at
take
that
you,
point.
yeah.
Okay.
So you park,
And then you ride. So when I've typically done it, it's been $5 per person per way.
So if it's two of you, it'd be like $20 basically.
Yeah, there and back.
I mean,
$5
it
for each
varies.
$5 there, $5 back.
Yeah.
And it varies from event to event. They do it for Spurs games. The rodeo is a big park and ride. Fiesta.
know that.
Fiesta's a huge park and ride.
Yes.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah.
So there will be parking. If you drive to the Freeman, there will be a parking fee. This is a change from last year. Last year, you could park at the JW Marriott, no problem, no parking fees. And if you parked far enough out, they would shuttle you in. In fact, you could park at Johnson High School, and they would shuttle you in. Now, I actually drove up there. There were quite a few cars up there, so that was pretty cool. But now, it's $15 a car. Parking will be $15. It's still cheaper than the Dome, which was $20 last year for the Alamo City Comic Con. But it's still $15 to park. And unlike the Alamo Dome and the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center, you can park and walk straight into the building. There's no stairs. You got to go down and go up. No overpasses. I mean, you just park and you just walk right in. So you're covered there. You don't have to wait
Depending
for a
upon when
train
you
or
get there.
Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah. Depending
The
on how
later
good
you get
traffic
there,
is,
the
farther you got to walk.
yeah.
And he said, in regards to check-in, because this is the big thing with any con, is how are you going to handle check-in? He says that everybody that buys a 3-day pass, VIP 3-day pass, or a family pass before May 19th, that's the key. You have to purchase your pass before then. Your badges will be mailed out to you. However, you will still have to go through he says, his words here, super fast, expedited security check through a special entrance that they will set up. He says that they will have 12 entrance lanes to get into the show. So it sounds like a pretty quick and easy way to get in.
That'd be nice.
I think when we were there at the JW Marriott, I think I counted 8 lanes.
Yeah.
I think
when
I
we were
counted
at
8.
Comic-Palooza, I think they had 2. Or 4.
I think they had 4.
So they had 3. They had 2 in the front and then that one inside.
Well, and then there were 2 entrances to get in, though. There was the entrance by the hotel that we went in,
Right.
and there was one further down.
Yeah, and then if you went to one of the restaurants and you had to come back in, there was another one.
That's right. Okay, so he'll have 12 entrance lanes to get in there. So, all right, that's pretty good. That's all right. And the ticket prices have gone up.
Yes.
They have gone up. They are now on par, give or take, with the Dallas Fan Expo, Dallas Fan Days, and Comic Palooza. And I think they were comparable to Alamo City. Give or take plus or
a
minus.
few bucks here and there.
Yeah, and the package prices are different for each one of these.
Now, I did like their super VIP 3-day pass, which is $500. There's only 200 of those available.
That's right. And once they're gone, they're gone. They're not going to open up any others. So I asked about the prices. I said, is this a sign of things to come? Because typically when a con charges more, it's because they've got big celebs coming in who, of course, demand higher fees. And he said that their prices are slightly higher, but that's a function of quality. Our talent and exhibits will be significantly elevated from other shows. When you factor in discounts, combos that they're going to have, their final prices in many cases will be lower than those shows. So I'm interested to see what kind of photo op autograph combos they're going to have coming out.
Well, yeah, and that was the one thing that separated them in November was like you could get the half-day admission.
I love the half day
with a photo op for under $200.
Yeah. It was the half day was a brilliant idea. I love the half day idea.
So are they going to be sitting on platforms because it's elevated?
I
thought it was funny.
Now here was my question. This one I thought of as soon as I heard it's a mid-June show, and their press statement said that they will utilize the indoor and outdoor space. Outdoors in June in South Texas. And I said, are you concerned about the heat? And he says, not at all. The real heat hits in July and August, but the vast majority of the show is indoors in the air-conditioned Expo Hall in Freeman Coliseum. If he were here, if he were here, I would have said this. Dude, it's plenty hot in June in Texas.
It's hot in May.
It's hot in May, yeah. Just because it's 100 degrees in July doesn't mean that 97 in June makes it a whole lot cooler. It's going to be toasty out there. Now, I don't know what they're going to have outside just yet. I mean, it may be 1 or 2 things. It may be a whole panel exhibition. I don't know.
Mist hoses.
Mist hoses.
That's what River City does.
Free drinks. I mean, I don't know, but I'm letting you know right now. It gets toasty outside in Texas in June. July and August are no picnic, but woo, man, that's going to be fun.
Terrible.
He also wanted to let everyone know that unlike other shows, or there's the JW Marriott, they will have bottled water and soft drinks at 40% lower prices. 40% lower prices. I'm assuming from what they charged last year.
Yeah, and what they charged over at JW was reasonable.
Was it like $5 right for water and
something like that?
I think
like
it's
that.
like $3, $3 or $4.
Yeah, $3 or $4.
But it was reasonable compared to cons we've been into in the past.
Yeah, where you can expect $5, or if they bring in an outside vendor, like Wild Bill's or somebody, then it's like $25 or something like that.
But you get a souvenir to take with you at that point.
That's true.
Yeah, because I think when Dallas is like $5 a water, I think when we went to Dallas.
That sounds about right. So 40% cheaper would be like $3 then for
$2-3. That's still not bad.
All right, so I asked him also, last year it was a 2-day event. This year it's a 3-day event. Why the change? And he says that it's just going to be a big show. It's just going to be huge, so he needs the extra space in there as well. Here's the big one, though. Here's the big question. They're doing this the same weekend as the Greater Austin Comic-Con and Anime Matsuri out in Houston.
And then isn't Countdown City the very next weekend?
I'm not 100% sure. I think they are, though. I think you're right. So, I mean, that's a lot to ask right there in the same weekend. Were they restricted to choosing that particular weekend? And he says it's unfortunate that, I'm reading his words now, it's unfortunate we're on the same weekend. They had to choose from available dates that did not conflict with the Spurs in the AT&T Center, which would have caused a parking problem. And he said that some of the folks are angry that we didn't confer with them. Given that they confirmed their dates before we did, maybe they should have checked with us and Alamo City Comic-Con. I don't know how the con circuit works. I assume the owners talk to each other at some point, but I don't know if they harvest their dates together or,
I think
or whatever.
didn't Greater Austin confirm their dates back in October?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, though. But we do have confirmation that Countdown City Comic-Con is June 29th and 30th.
Oh, so 2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later. He said, we want to be friends with all showrunners, but that's just not always possible. We made friends with the Corpus Christi Comic-Con owners, and we swapped info to avoid being on the same June weekend. So Corpus Christi is also, right around the corner as well. Our showrunners think that we have a choice of dates, but it's just not so, he goes on to say. Between graduations in June and other shows and events, there are limited dates to hold a show of this size. And he's right. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Apple had to move the Alamo City Comic-Con to the Alamo Dome was because I think he was faced with the choice of having it in the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center at Christmas or not at all. And so he's like, yeah, we'll move to the Dome, no problem. No one's going to go to a con at Christmas time. So I think that's kind of the same story with moving it on that particular date in the Freeman. He wanted a bigger space, but San Antonio is limited. Well, I'm almost getting ready to go into another rant here. We're limited as to what spaces you can move into. That's a step up from the JW Marriott. It's not ready for the Dome in its second year. Henry B is booked 18 years in advance. And, you got to do what you got to do.
And especially with the events that we have, especially over the summer in this city.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of dates to choose from. And I lay you odds there's an event on that property on either weekend.
You can't do it
on either side of it.
Can't do it in April. That's Fiesta. If you do it in July and August, it better be all indoors.
And if it's May, we have major colleges in this city.
You got major universities, plus there are other cons, events going on. I mean, you're limited by what you choose.
August, September, you have to worry about River City Rock Fest,
Yep.
which is the biggest rock concert here.
It is. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Now, he wouldn't leak any info to me about, who's coming and guests and all that sort of thing, but he did say they'll have over 200 vendors, artists and exhibitors, and a 9,000-seat arena that they'll do some special shows in. So that was the news there from the Celebrity Fan Fest.
No, go ahead. You go first.
So in the first show, which we all agree was done very well. It was a very good show.
Yes.
8 weeks.
Yeah, he put that on in 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8
Imagine
weeks.
6 months.
Especially given his ambition.
Yeah.
You got 6 months.
I believe we actually got a direct quote from Samuel L. Jackson, who learned about what he could do in 6 months, and it was, hold on to your butts.
I think you're missing 2 words in that, but just saying.
Well, it was from Jurassic Park. That was
actually,
so.
And I didn't get the sound of it, but Aaron, I got a quote from Ron Simmons about what he thinks about it.
Oh, yeah?
Damn!
Yeah, no kidding. All righty.
You
have a question.
What celebrity do you think would be there, and what celebrity do you want to be there? Going with you, each of us pick 2. So.
I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to say he's going to get Mark Hamill.
Okay. And who do you wish he would have?
Mark Hamill.
So yours is the same for both. Okay.
No, I would. I mean, if he could shoot for the moon and get anybody,
who would you wish he could get?
I would want either Anne Hathaway or not Natalie. Harrison Ford.
Okay.
When he says he wants Anne Hathaway, he means to take home with him.
Actually, my wife might approve of that too. She's a big Princess Diaries fan.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that might work.
What about you, sir?
I would go with Henry Cavill.
Okay, good.
Superman. And Tyler Hoechlin.
So which is which? You think,
Superman.
You think he's going to get Henry Cavill? Or
No,
you want him to?
This year I honestly think it's probably going to end up being a Marvel year.
Okay.
So if he could get RDJ or Chris Evans.
Oh, if he gets RDJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Robert Downey
Who
Jr.
I think he will get is. Ooh. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Pratt shows up.
That's a good one. I think that's.
Okay. It would not surprise me if Chris Pratt showed up.
What about you? What do you think?
I think so. My wish, Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I love
good
her.
call.
Who I think, Samuel L. Jackson. I think he's never come out this way. I don't think.
Well, and
that'd be a big one.
And he did post a picture with Samuel L. Jackson lead up to the first one.
And Samuel does love the Spurs.
He did. That's very true. All right. Well, speaking of big parks, big events, big shows, let's go ahead. We'll turn the dial here and we'll talk some Disney news.
Life is like a hurricane
here in Duckburg. Alrighty, so speaking of which, speaking of price hikes and speaking of big parks, Disney. We're going to love to go to Disney, especially this year. A lot of moms and dads are planning that Disneyland or Disney World trip. Yeah, you may want to plan a little bit harder now because Disney is announcing a big ticket price hike. The regular price for a one-day, one-park admission went from $117 to $129, and that's for like an off day. That's like a Tuesday. But if you're going on a peak day, which is like, Saturday or Friday, yeah, that's going to go from $135 to $149.
Yeah. Reports said an 8% hike.
Ouch.
That's crazy.
Multi-day prices are also going to spike. 2-day, one-park tickets will now cost $225 instead of $210. A 3-day ticket, which is the best value, which was $300, is now going to be $355. Ouch.
10%?
That's more than 10%. That's almost 20.
That's almost a 20% hike. Plus, parking
would be $30.
And half of it. Yeah, so 15.
And parking, not that
almost
anyone
20.
around here will be doing it, but parking will go from 20 to 25.
Yeah.
For parking.
Yeah.
That's a chunk.
That's a 20%.
25.
Yeah, that's a 25% rate increase.
That one is, yeah.
Now, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge expansion is the reason why they're doing this, because they know they're going to pack the park. Absolutely. It'll open at Disneyland in summer 2019 and Disney World in fall 2019 and will be the largest single-themed expansion at a Disney park spanning 14 acres at each location. So they want to milk this for all it's worth. Heck yeah. They absolutely do.
Oh, heck yeah.
So I can't say that I blame them either. I mean, if you build it, they will come and they will pay through the nose. So just saying, for everybody out there, all the moms and dads, you're planning to go to Disney this year, either go in the spring or plan a little harder.
Or, take out a second mortgage.
Yeah. Sell a car, go sell some pizzas on the side.
Use your income tax. Oh.
Do a 401k loan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well gut that 401k. It's going to be vicious. One other thing, speaking of Disney, a lot of people love to dress up in cosplay, and maybe you have questions about cosplaying. Maybe you're a little embarrassed, about putting yourself out there, and you want to do it with a group of really nice people. That's the heroes and villains of cosplay. These people are so much fun to be around. They're a great group of people. They're very supportive of any cosplay desire that you want to express. You can do that over with our friends over at Heroes and Villains of Cosplay here in San Antonio. A little bit of Facebook news and notes to get out of the way. We do have a Facebook poll that we put up weekly over on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/GYGO Radio. And what you can find there, in addition to the polls, a lot of memes and videos and, of course, all that fun stuff you find on social media. But we had over 1,200 people vote on this poll. And the poll is, now that Aquaman came out and is going to make $1 billion, $1 billion, it will outpace Wonder Woman. Does this mean that DCEU is finally off to the right step? Is it been redeemed in your eyes? And so far, 71% of people said yes. The DC is on the rise. DC is on the move. This is the first step. And 29% said, nope, there's no redeeming. It's toast. Forget it. And we also have a Facebook post of the week as well in our Facebook group. You search for Get Your Geek On, you'll see the page, which has our logo. Our group has the little 6-sided die as its logo, so you can check that out. Join that. We'd love to have you there. And this one goes out to Sean Elford. Sean Elford posted, other than Morgan Freeman, who would you want to narrate your life?
Now, Sean said he's going with Peter Cullen with Optimus's voice.
That would be wonderful. That'd be really cool to have that. I would want Seth MacFarlane. I think that Seth has a terrific voice. He doesn't have to do it as Quagmire or Peter or Brian from Family Guy. Just seriously, if you've ever heard him speak, that's great. And then you go on YouTube and find his Kermit the Frog impression. You'll love it.
And if you haven't, you can tune into The Orville every Thursday night on Fox.
That works. Who would you want to narrate your voice there, Aaron?
Samuel Jackson.
There's you want Samuel Jackson narrate your whole life.
There's a lot of times it's going to be this dumb, beep, beep. That's what's going to be. He's going to be shaking his head the whole time he says it.
All right, that sounds fair. Goose, who do you want to narrate your life?
Patrick Stewart.
That'd be
awesome.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
As Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, that'd be fun. You wouldn't want him as Scrooge, huh?
Why not Professor X and make you think he's Jean Picard?
Ooh.
Then you get both.
What if he really is Professor X and he's already making us think he's Jean-Luc Picard?
There you go. See.
Ooh, or Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard and James McAvoy as Professor X.
Oh, that'd be awesome. There you go.
By the way, you want your Marvel X-Men, G.I. Joe crossover. Glass is coming out next weekend.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh, I need to watch Split still.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. I'd like to see McAvoy make some type of a cameo appearance in the new Picard series, which we're talking about, by the way.
He's offered to.
After the bottom half of the hour, we're talking some Star Trek news. But yeah, that would be a lot of fun to see him and Patrick Stewart on the screen at the same time.
He could do better than Tom Hardy, that's for sure.
So we want to hear from you. Who would narrate your life? Anybody out there other than Morgan Freeman, because that's the obvious choice. We'd love to hear from you on our Facebook page and our new Facebook group. You can check that out as well. After the bottom half of the hour, we're talking Big Bang Theory since it's just about done. And we've got so much Star Trek news, and we got to talk some video game news. We'll be right back here on Freedom 1160 and freedom1160.com.
Hi, this is Marina Sirtis, and you're listening to Get Your Geek On.
Alrighty, so we are back from the bottom half of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek On Freedom 1160 Talk Radio. I'm Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of the show, we had quite a bit of news to talk about, including the Celebrity Fan Fest. We could not get Bob Wills to be in studio with us. He's out on business, but he answered a flurry of questions, and we were able to get those answers to you here. We also talked Disney news. For all you moms and dads out there planning those Disney trips, yeah, you might want to go back and listen to this news on our award-winning podcast, named the best podcast in San Antonio for 2017. Results pending for 2018. We were nominated once again, so we'll see how that goes. But you can listen to it on pretty much any platform that's out there, including Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Omni, and TuneIn. Just look for Get Your Geek On, and you will be listening to the best podcast in San Antonio. Alrighty, so we had a bit of breaking news that happened during the week, and the fallout is still going on. We're still hearing about the fallout of this. But let's go ahead and talk about some video game news here, shall we? All right, so Activision is one of the largest companies out there as far as video games go, and they have some of the biggest titles out there, including, but not limited to, Destiny, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, and so on and so forth. They are big. There's no question about that. We're talking about $1 billion company here, and they've suffered a big loss. First, last year didn't go so well for them because they announced a Diablo mobile game that was not well received at all. We talked about that at length as well. But now we found out that their game development division, Bungie, has split. They're gone, and they're taking the hit game Destiny 2 with them. Upon hearing the news, it came out, it was late Thursday, I believe, and in after-hours trading, the Activision stock dropped almost 7% when the news came out. And then the fallout continued after that. It was a real roller coaster after that, but it took a huge hit immediately when the news came out. So how big is this? How big of a loss is this for Activision?
I mean, that would help. Okay, so honestly, it's a big hit because in the deal that Bungie, who originally was with Microsoft because they built a game called Halo, they got that game off the ground, did 4 games for Microsoft with it, left to Activision, and made 2 games, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. Basically, the contract was supposed to be 4 games up until 2020, basically being 4 Destiny games, each with 4 expansions. So, I mean, there's the potential of millions of dollars lost right there in revenue. The first week alone for Destiny 2, it sold 1.92 million copies in the first week. $60 a pop per game. I mean, that's a lot of money they just lost right there. Well, not lost, but that they made, I should say. Bungie is taking over on it, and they're taking with it all the expansions, all the material coming out for it for the foreseeable future, and are going to run with it. So the money is now going to basically be Bungie's. So Activision's taking that hit. Apparently, from everything that I've read, everything that they're talking about, it was a mutual split. Bungie and Activision seem to have just parted ways. I know the Destiny 2, when it came out, was underperforming what Activision wanted, so it's possible maybe that had some involvement. Who knows on that? That's closed doors, of course. But definitely it's going to be a hit to Activision. They're really going to have to bounce back on their other IPs and hopefully keep going forward. I mean, right now they're not doing too good. The stock's plummeted, and they just spent a $4 million bonus on hiring a new CFO. So see what happens there.
Ouch.
Yeah, they brought back the CFO who was there for World of Warcraft, the expansions between the Lich King, I believe, around that time frame.
Okay.
So he's coming back. That's when they were doing really, really good. So when he came back, they gave him a $4 million bonus on sign up.
So
yeah.
So what can you compare this out to? Because a lot of people they don't know Activision and Bungie, how intertwined they were.
I guess this would be as much as you could say like Disney and LucasArts. You know, they were working very well hand in hand, and I can't remember the numbers now. I know when Activision and them made this contract, there was a lot of millions of dollars involved. So it's probably just as big as the merger with them two. And now that the split's happening, it's kind of like Lucas leaving Disney and trying to go back on its own again at this point.
Ouch. Ooh, it's a big hit to Activision. We'll keep an eye out and see what are they going to do after all this. I mean, they still have some really big properties out there, but this is quite the blow, especially the video game industry itself. It sent some real shockwaves out there.
It is. It's making me wonder what's the next step for Destiny, because people have invested in this franchise. We have 2 games. Are we going to get another game or 2? Are we going to get more expansions? Is Bungie going to leave this and do another IP and say, hey, we're just done with it?
Okay.
Who knows?
So gamers, just keep an eye out on our Facebook page. Keep an eye out, or an ear out rather, on the show. We'll keep you updated as things go along. This could get pretty severe as we go. So something that we've never talked about before on this show, and at this rate may never talk again, is the Big Bang Theory.
Great show, by the way. I enjoy the heck out of it.
I just never really got into it. I like some moments in there, here and there, but a lot of stereotypes and whatnot, and it's okay. It's won a lot of awards. It's gone on for over 12 seasons now at this point.
Yeah,
so
it's in its 12th and final
season.
Is it
12th season, which just to get to 100 episodes is big. 7 seasons is huge. And 12 seasons is just, it's monstrous. And it will
live forever in syndication and TBS.
Oh, yeah, no question. TBS will run 6 episodes a day until 2040 or something like that.
And then Cozy TV will take over.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think Warner Brothers owns Big Bang Theory, so that explains why TBS is running it forever.
That makes sense. So a lot of people had questions as to why they would end this show. It's still really popular. It's not like it's been dying at this point. I mean, yeah, it's lost some of its steam, it's lost some of its viewers, but it's still a really popular show.
Yes.
I think it still tops in its time slot.
Most likely.
Or
that Thursday night at 7 time slot is just the place for hits for some reason.
So now we found out allegedly what's been going on here. There was an interview that Jim Parsons did. Jim Parsons plays let's face it, pretty much the central character of Dr. Sheldon Cooper. He's the uber nerd in this one, and he's also a bit of a jerk to his friends and roommates and whatnot. But he is the character. And allegedly, he's turned down a $50 million deal.
That was one season, $50 million.
$50 million for the 12th season, or
no,
for the 13th season. Sorry,
roughly $2 million an episode
for that one guy.
That's crazy.
Probably a little more. I think they were going to do like 20 episodes, so
25 to 26 episodes.
Right, so. Yeah, so that's a chunk of money, and he turned it down because he said he's pretty much milked this for all he can. It's getting a little silly now because he's 45, trying to play this nerd, trying to play this. Essentially what is almost like a post-college uber nerd.
Yeah, and Sheldon as a character is pushing 40 at this point.
Yeah, so he said it's you quit while you're ahead, while you still can, before you really start embarrassing yourself and jumping the shark. That being said, the guy turned down $50 million for a season.
Well, hang on. He's also the narrator of Young Sheldon.
He is, yes.
So I wonder what this is going to do, not just for Big Bang, but for Young Sheldon. Is he just walking away? Or does he still have a contract for a Young Sheldon?
Well, I don't know. He can certainly spend more time in the studio now. He can do that.
I mean, voice work's a lot easier.
It is.
Just
it is.
2-3 lines
read the
here
scripts
and
you're
yeah.
good.
Plus, he doesn't have to be on set now, so he has more time to be in the studio. He's 45, and he just said, I'm just done doing it. Which, on the one hand, I applaud him for walking away. It's like Tim Duncan style. You walk away from the game before you really start to embarrass yourself. Like Manu did. Like Tony will end up doing here eventually. He's still playing in Charlotte for some reason, but whatever. So good on him. On the other hand, how do you walk away from $50 million in a year?
You have that much and more in the bank already from your other 12 seasons.
Didn't last season they made like $1 million an episode?
Probably. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
Like Friends and Seinfeld in their last season, they all made like $1 million each or something an episode.
I mean, $26 million last year is not small either. So
that's true, but I just whoa.
You know what he could do with? You know what he could have done with $26 million? He could have underprivileged girls go see Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's true, from the GoFundMe.
Maybe someone should send him that link.
I was saying, he could fund our show for like a century. That'd be fine too.
I would just call him back to the first segment. That's all I was doing.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Oh goodness! All right, and then some other news comes out that's Big Bang Theory related. Kaylee Cuoco,
the next Harley Quinn.
Who plays Penny?
Right.
Who? The best way I can describe her is she's the hot girl on the show.
Yes.
That's and again, I don't.
Well,
I don't
she's become the hotter girl on the show now.
That's true. She's the blonde on the show, and she says she wants the show to go on, which it won't, but she wants it to. And she's suggesting that there may be a reboot of the show as early as 2020. It's next year.
Be weird. How do you reboot it though?
It's Big Bang Theory with another group of nerds,
or without Sheldon,
or goes on without
you
Sheldon.
You have to have a new Sheldon at that point.
Sheldon goes to work for, I don't know, NASA or something, or goes on to be a professor somewhere.
Well,
or blows up.
Johnny Galecki knows what it's like to have a hit show, and then just have to walk away because he was on Roseanne for all those years.
That's true. And of course Blossom is on the show.
Yes, she is.
She knows what it's like to have it and then lose it. So I don't know. I mean, a reboot in 2020, that's awful fast. I don't know what they're going to do with it. That's just what Kaylee is hoping for. Good luck. I mean, strike while the iron is hot, I suppose. But good luck with that.
But she's still cashing those royalty checks for syndication.
Yeah, that's true.
She also do like credit card commercials now or something.
She did Priceline.
She did Priceline with William Shatner. That's right.
She does those now.
Speaking of doing commercials.
You and your segues from hell, dude.
I know.
They really are.
Well, there's no good segue.
Hold on, wait.
That's not true.
It wasn't. He likes Spock.
No.
Wait.
No. Here's the thing. It's like, one thing about the Big Bang, where they hang out a lot at is a comic book store. And if you are searching for a comic book store, go to our friends over at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch.
No,
He has a good point.
Keep going.
There you can find comics, games, so much more. They've got great things going on every single day. Transformers, DBZ, whole 9 yards. You can find X-Wing. You can find all kinds of events there. Go to their website. It's dl.net/Alamo Ranch. You can also find them on Facebook at DL Alamo Ranch. That's our friends over at Dragon's Lair, Alamo Ranch.
You didn't say where it was.
He said Alamo Ranch.
Well, yeah, but who knows where Alamo Ranch is?
Well, again, you sprung this on me. I was trying to help you with the segue, and you're like, just do the commercial then.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't have my bullet points, son. So where are they located?
It's off Highway 151 and 1604 out on the west side of San Antonio, not too far from SeaWorld.
I wasn't trying to steal your thunder, by the way.
No, it's fine.
Feel the thunder.
No, you started. It was kind of cool. It was kind of.
Yeah.
How'd you feel doing that? Is that all right?
It felt fine. It's not the first time I've done it. It's the first time I've done it with this voice.
That's a good point. It is not the first time.
I was going to go a different direction with that, but okay, that's.
My voice is horrible, so I didn't feel like doing a whole lot tonight.
It's all good. All right, so this is something we can kind of building up to now. There's an awful lot of Star Trek news out there. So much that came out this week. The franchise as we know it is getting ready to change. So let's talk some Star Trek news.
Yeah. If you see Klingons, better make sure that your face is out. And if you're in the fleet, rep your uniform, cause it's future chic. All the haters know, we got photon torpedoes. Throw the Vulcan up if you're not from Romulus, and stay with me now, live long and prosperous.
Just beat me up, Scotty. Just beat me up, Scotty. Just beat me up, Scotty.
Alrighty, so
I'm just waiting for bugs.
if you're wondering what we're laughing at, you gotta check out our Facebook feed, facebook.com/GYGO Radio. We just danced during this segment because the music's
Well,
fun.
the only person they could see was you.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's true. So you get to see me dance. Okay.
I just smile.
Oh, wait till the Marvel music hits. That's really fun.
Yeah.
So Star Trek Discovery
Trek.
Season 2 with the furry Spock will be coming out next week.
No, comes out Thursday.
Thursday, this coming Thursday. You're right. This coming Thursday. Sunday, turn the calendar. And so I was writing up my notes here, and I'm like, other than Discovery, there's not really a lot of big Trekkie news. And that was Monday. And then the rest of the week hit, and it was just news after news after news after news. The first bit of news we got is not totally confirmed, but really should not come as a shock to anybody either. It's that Star Trek, the fourth movie of what is called the JJ verse, is dead. It's officially been shelved. We had Star Trek in 2009, which rebooted the franchise, and that movie grossed more than like 3 other movies combined. I think 3 or 4. I think it's 3 movies, than any 3 other movies combined. It was a huge box office smash hit. So of course, what do? They make another one. And then Star Trek Into Darkness came around, and oh my God, that was a train wreck. That was not that good of a movie.
If y'all could see Goose, he's having a heart attack right now.
Well, here's the thing about the 2009 Star Trek.
It had plot holes the size of a starship.
With every other movie, you had to have some built-in equity in the series. Because you were dealing with characters that have had years upon years of development.
Sure.
When 09 hit, you didn't need to know a darn thing.
Well, they did a good job with the 09 movie.
Yeah, you didn't need to know anything about the characters because you were introduced to them for the first time. Into Darkness was their attempt at a Star Trek II Wrath of Khan remake, which was horrible.
Wait, they already did a remake of Wrath of Khan. It was called Nemesis.
Let's not talk about that movie.
But Into Darkness was not that good of a picture. It still grossed pretty good at the box office, but mostly because it was riding the coattails of the 2009 movie.
Yes.
So they came out now with a third one, Star Trek Beyond, which was probably the most Trekkie movie I've seen since Undiscovered Country.
I think First Contact did a good job.
That just felt like a 2-parter episode. I mean, it was a real Trek movie.
The next gen movies did feel like 2-part episodes with bigger budgets.
So Star Trek Beyond, however, just kind of broke even at the box office. People were burned out thanks to Into Darkness. I don't think them seeing Kirk riding a motorcycle helped anything. It just kind of But the movie was terrific. Kind of like Solo. It was a good movie that just didn't pan out well at the box office.
Solo now on Netflix.
There you go. But now Star Trek 4, which allegedly was going to have Chris Hemsworth come back as Kirk's dad somehow, some way, some form, is dead, possibly due to casting problems because they couldn't get Chris Pine to sign a contract. Mm-hmm. And supposedly Chris Hemsworth was not keen on coming back, and so he didn't sign a contract either.
I've also read somewhere that the contract with Bad Robot's coming up.
Oh, they were supposed to originally do 3 movies.
Right.
A
so
trilogy.
If that's the case, and especially if CBS and Paramount do reform, there could be more stuff related to that. You know, the Klingons were changed because they had to for legal reasons because there's a division in Star Trek. But if they actually bring everything back together, that could want to do another reboot or go back to the original continuity.
Now, the reason why we say this is rumor is because Paramount has not yet commented. However, this is the most damning piece of evidence right here. S.J. Clarkson was supposed to be the first female director in the franchise's over 50-year history.
Movie director, maybe.
Movie director. But she's now signed on to direct the Game of Thrones spinoff after she, quote unquote, recently became available. That got that on Deadline. Recently became available. How about that? So now people are saying, yeah, there goes the Star Trek 4th movie. So no Kirk, no director. Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty much gone. Now, keep in mind that that's just the movie side of it. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 comes out this week, as we just talked about. Now we get word about the Picard series. So we know that Sir Patrick Stewart had signed on to do something related to Jean-Luc Picard, the character from Star Trek The Next Generation back in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, Captain Picard was one of the most beloved captains of all time.
Make it so.
A lot of people were saying, you know, Kirk or Picard, Kirk or Picard. It even made it into a Weird Al song.
It made the cover of TV Guide.
Yes, it did. So
White and nerdy, right?
It was white and nerdy. Very good. All right.
I love Weird Al.
On the straight out of Linwood.
Straight out of Linwood. There you go. So but nobody knew anything about the Picard series. Is it going to be him manning the Academy as the commandant? Is he going to be on the bridge of the Enterprise again? What's he going to be doing?
Is he going to be in the vineyard?
Will he be in his beloved vineyard? We don't know. Well, now the Hollywood Reporter has spoken to Alex Kurtzman, who's going to be the director of the series. And he said, quote, Picard's life was radically altered by the dissolution of the Romulan Empire. So we know now that it's going to take place after the 2009 movie in which Romulus was destroyed by a supernova.
In the exposition part of 2009.
Yeah. So that's gone. The Romulan homeworld is gone. Now the Romulans are one of three big races in space at this time. The three biggest. It's us, the humans, it's the Klingons, and then it's the Romulans.
How dare you, sir? It's the Federation, which is made up of many different species across the alpha and beta quadrants.
Shut up. So it's us. We're the big three. There's some other minor races in there, but we're the big three. So the Romulans are the ones we know the least about. We barely saw them in the original series. We didn't know that much about them in the Next Generation series. And the only thing we knew about them in DS9 is that they came in and saved the day, helped save the day there toward the end. That's about it.
It's a fake.
There you go. All you DS9 fans will love that one. So we don't know that much about them, except now Picard is going to have to deal with the fallout of this supernova. Now in the movie, I hope I'm not losing people here, but in the movie, according to Spock, the supernova took place like near the center of the galaxy.
Around that, yes.
So that means that this supernova probably destroyed more than just the Romulan homeworld. It probably destroyed more than a few star systems. So, I mean, we're talking maybe a couple dozen planets gone.
Now, according to Memory Alpha, which is basically the Prime Universe canon timeline of Star Trek, that happened about 9 years after Nemesis, right?
Okay.
Well, now we're 17 years after the release of Nemesis.
So
or
that'd
16 years
be about right
in real time.
as far as the timeline goes.
So now when this was announced, nobody thought it was real or not. And now that when news come out, I actually got a quote from Avery Brooks.
Oh, good.
About the series.
Avery Brooks playing Captain Benjamin Sisko.
And it's real! It's real! Oh, God!
Nice that he's subtle about his quote there. That was very nice of him. This kind of hurt my head thinking about the paradoxes that we may run into here. But supposedly, Spock going back in time isn't going to change anything with Picard and his future.
We may have to do a bonus show about the different ways.
We'll need a Venn diagram, and charts and graphs.
We've made a commitment to not dwell in the minutia.
Yes,
on the radio program.
That's true.
So we may have to do a bonus show to dwell in the minutia.
So Kurtzman had to pitch this to Patrick Stewart, and he said that Stewart threw down an amazing gauntlet and said, if we do this, I want it to be so different. I want it to be both what people remember and what they're not expecting at all. Otherwise, why do it?
Agreed.
So Patrick Stewart wants us to be so incredibly different and yet memorable at the same time. Gee, Star Wars fans, does that sound familiar at all? That, sound anything like, your Luke Skywalker and your Han Solo and something radically different yet memorable at the same time?
However, he must pull his tunic down at least once per episode.
Oh, he's got to do I'm sure Jonathan Frakes would love to see Picard do the Riker maneuver or do the Picard maneuver once or twice an episode. That'd be pretty cool. So, I don't know. I'm torn on this. On the one hand, different is good. Different can shake things up. On the other hand, you have a character so established. We know everything about Picard. It's like knowing everything about Luke Skywalker. We do. We know everything about him. And now they're going to make it, quote unquote, so different that it will be what people remember, but also not what they're expecting at all.
We know everything about Captain Jean-Luc Picard. We know nothing about Ambassador or Admiral Picard.
Couldn't they have someone be under his take someone under his wing kind of thing, and him just watch over them?
Possible.
I mean, that would be a way to change it, but still keep Picard as Picard, couldn't it?
Possible, but I think the way that I've been reading this is that it's really going to be about Picard.
Yeah, and odds are it's going to be dark.
Well, yeah, dealing with the Romulans.
Now, Alex Kurtzman has basically become the Ron Perlman of this generation. He's basically the head of Star Trek now.
Pretty much, yes.
With
I would agree
when
with that.
Brian Fuller left Discovery, it was on Alex, who was actually a writer, I believe, for the other 3 movies. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
So he kind of has the reins.
Because Berman was Gene's handpicked successor, basically.
Now, the only good news about this that I can see is that Patrick Stewart is 78 years old. He's going to turn 79 this year. We probably are not going to see action Picard like we saw in those god-awful next-gen movies.
It's your show, so I can't fire you.
So, for instance, because everyone knows I'm not a Star Trek fan, and you said like this guy is going to be like the writer. You said the main guy.
No, Alex Kurtzman is basically the head of Star Trek for this generation.
Is he going to be like Stephen Moffat for Doctor Who?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to compare to understand.
Yeah, and all of this is going to be streaming. In fact, now we also get news that they're going to have more Star Trek animated series as well. We could see as many as 6 or 7 Star Trek series on the CBS All Access.
Don't tease me like that.
At the same time.
Don't tease me like that.
With Young Justice Outsiders?
Well, think about how we talked about all the Marvel series that were coming out at once. We could have something like that for Star Trek.
That'd be
which is beyond unusual, no pun intended.
Star Trek Beyond Unusual.
Star Trek Beyond Unusual, no pun intended.
New show right there.
I mean, Star Trek is used to having one series at a time. That's it. There was one exception, and Voyager kind of came out when DS9 was closing down, but wasn't quite gone yet. So this is Star Trek fans. Just get ready for this. Brace yourself. This is going to be way, way different than anything that you've experienced before.
And if CBS is looking for an new after Trek host, once my voice comes back, I'm available.
Oh God, yes, please. So that'll wrap it up here. For Goose, for Aaron, and for myself, I want to thank our sponsors, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch, Havoc, and The Mailing Spot. You have officially embraced your inner geek, so make sure to get your geek on every single day.